This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Philly Sports Guys Show. Today is Wednesday, July 27th, and there's a couple things that are happening in Philadelphia sports. Football is back. They got into camp yesterday. They got their books. They got their physicals. They got their room assignments, and they're going to be on the field today. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch that as football season has officially begun. Obviously, there's not going to be any games until for a little while here, but isn't it great to have football back? Especially, it's like in the dog days of summer and with as hot as it's been. I know that everybody's been kind of waiting for this. It's, Philadelphia, amongst everything else, is a football town. They love their football. And, even though there's other sports in here and such like that, the Eagles rule the roost. That being said, there was other sports that are going on. So I'll be back to the Eagles here a little bit later. But right now, we got to talk about the teams that are actually playing games for real, and that goes with the Phillies. And the Phillies played last night. They coming off a big win where they were able to beat the Braves on Monday, winning that game 6-4 with an eighth inning home run. 5 RBIs knocked in by Bryson Stott. Yesterday, Nola pitching, and you know what happens when Nola pitches. Unfortunately, Nola pitches, the bats disappear. Not sure why they disappear, but they definitely disappear. And yesterday was no different. The Phillies lose 6-3. It really even wasn't that close. It was more 6-1. They did score a couple of runs in the ninth inning, but it wasn't enough. They tried to mount a little bit of a comeback, just was not enough to keep things, to get it any closer. And ultimately, they lose this game to the Braves, and they have a tie within the series with the next game happening here in just a few minutes. It seems at 12:35 start. These early starts, I don't know why they started to mess with these games and put them at 12:35 instead of 1:05 or 1:35. It's not like the Braves are going anywhere special, but and they don't ever seem to make anything easy for anybody else. You have to go to a 6 o'clock game on your getaway days. This is the same thing. It's a getaway day. So hopefully the Phillies will be able to take command of this game early and be able to get the series win. It would be important, especially after getting swept by the Cubs, in the this past weekend. Some of the lines for the game. Spencer Strider is the one that gets the win for Atlanta. He pitches 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks, and a walk. Aaron Nola, not necessarily his best start. He goes to 6-8. He also had 6 innings pitched, gives up 7 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 7 Ks. So it's just, again, no run support. Not the best outing by Nola. Definitely not a quality start, giving up the 5 runs. Gave up a couple of home runs. It started off. He gave up a run in the first inning. Like I said, a double. A pretty deep double. So they were hitting him pretty good all game long. Gives up a home run to Michael Harris, another home run to Olson, a 2-run home run, and ultimately, and Harris almost hit a second home run. It wound up bouncing off of the wall. It just so they were just, Nola just did not have his good stuff, and Harris was hitting the ball pretty well. So they get the loss here. A couple of different stats. Schwarber obviously gets his 31st home run. Unfortunately, in a losing cause, it was a solo shot. I want to say, was it in the seventh? Was that in the seventh? It was in the sixth. Okay. In the 6th inning, 2 strikeouts on the day. Rhys Hoskins, another 2 strikeouts, but he also gets a hit with a run scored. Real Muto hits 2 RBIs. He went 1 for 3. The bottom of the order, it wasn't as strong as it was the previous day, where they went 2 for 3, 2 for 4. Just didn't happen. Castellanos is having a tough go of it right now. And the fans are letting him know. The fans are letting him know. It's every time he goes up to bat, and he did a first pitch swing and popped it up, and of course the boos rained down, and I'm sure he's hearing them. I'm sure he's hearing the boos. Philadelphia's a tough place to play. It's definitely not Cincinnati. So he'll pick it up. I know that he'll pick it up. These players always go through these types of slumps. All of a sudden, he'll have a good hit and it'll turn it around. I'm hoping that this starts to happen, once the calendar changes into August. That's where I want him to start getting hot, and then September to get really hot. That's kind of what I'm looking for. It doesn't matter to me that he's not doing anything right now. Let's do it when it really matters in September. So, he's a little under average. Usually these things all average out. He'll get hot for a little while, and hopefully it's at the right time, just before we go ahead and make it to the playoffs. Because realistically, we haven't lost any ground. Right now, the Cardinals are stinking. They got crushed by Toronto yesterday, 10-3. So they haven't gained any ground on us. We still hold the game in hand. So as long as we were to win that game, we're in a virtual tie with them to be able to, for that last wild card spot. And I think that we're going to wind up taking it. And the Cardinals will be on the outside looking in, or they'll be on the inside, and then the Mets would falter. The Mets did win yesterday against the Yankees in the Subway Series. They were able to beat them. I think it was it 6-3? Let me check that score really quickly. I think it was 6-3, correct. So in the Subway Series, Yankees had one job to do. They couldn't do it. Just like New York, screwing it up for everybody. Anyways, so hopefully things will turn around today. The pitchers going today are Kyle Gibson with a 5-4. He has a 4.69 ERA, 101.2 innings pitched, 80 strikeouts with 29 walks. He's going up against the ageless Charlie Morton, who's 5-4, 4.2 ERA. He's got 121 strikeouts. It's amazing to me that guy can still strike people out all the time, and 40 walks on that as well. Right now, they have the line. Where did I see this? I thought I saw yeah, they got the Braves at a -155 today, and the over under at 8.5. If I was a betting man, and I don't gamble on sports, but if I did gamble on sports today, there'd be 2 bets that I take. One, the over, because the ERAs on both of these guys already make it over. And secondly, I take the Phillies today. They got to be getting somewhere around the plus 130. And I kind of feel that this is their game. Probably a plus 125. It's usually or a plus 135. So I would take the Phillies today. I think that they win this getaway game. It's a little early for Atlanta. They're not used to playing this early in the morning. Charlie Morton there. I know that there are days when he can give up a lot of hits, and I'm thinking that after not bringing the bats yesterday, the Phillies are going to start to bring the bats today. I would also give Schwarber another home run. I think Schwarber hits one, and I wouldn't be surprised if Castellanos also hits one. Just like I said, he ain't going to break out of this snide just yet, but I think he hits one today. I think he's definitely due. He's definitely due to hit one. So I'm expecting that he might get one and jack one out today, and then I'll be able to tell everybody tomorrow that I called it. I said that he was going to hit one, and he hit one. Anyways, so yeah, like I said, hopefully, obviously we have to beat the Braves to catch up on them. The Reds lost to the Marlins yesterday 2-1, so they catch up a game in the wild card race. The Giants lost, so they're starting to trail behind pretty badly. I guess the wheels are starting to fall off of that of Kapler's team over there. 109 wins last year, and now they can't even get above 500 this year. So I guess all those statistics aren't making a bit of sense for him over there. But like I said, that's just really close. We are still now we are back to 8 games out, trailing from Atlanta. I want to say it's 10 games to the Mets. Let me go figure that out and give you the full update on this really quickly. Here we go. Wild card standings. So we are half a game out of the wild card to the Cardinals, 3.5 to the Padres, or 4 to the Padres, 8 to the Braves. And then in the National League, we are 10 games back on the Mets. The Mets are still going to Mets it up. Trust me, I know. It's once it turns to August, I know that they're getting some of their pitchers back and that this is a different team. But realistically, the Mets are still the Mets, and they do what they do best, and that is lose when it comes to crunch time. Even though they might be beating the Yankees right now, and the Yankees seem to be the best team in baseball, they made a number of mistakes yesterday, and ultimately, I think it was 5-0 to start it off. They ran into the pitching didn't really live up to the billing for the Yankees, and the Mets took advantage. So I expect that the Yankees come back today, and if we beat the Braves, all those numbers will work out. And right now, I think the Cardinals are reeling a little bit. They're 3 games back on the Brewers, but then, like I said, lost to Toronto yesterday, 10-3. So I feel that with a win from us and a loss from St. Louis, we go back into the wild card spot by half a game. And I think that that's going to happen. We'll catch up closer to the Braves, closer to the Mets if the Mets happen to lose today. I'm going to take a quick commercial break now, and we'll be back on the other side to talk some Eagles football and some of the betting lines that are happening this year. I went ahead and took a look at some of the situations for the Eagles in terms of the lines out for the entire season, and we'll go over that right after these messages.
The Hometown Foundation is excited to bring back the Dream Ride experience, August 26th to the 28th at Connecticut's Farmington Polo Club. Join us in celebrating the accomplishments of our Dream Riders while enjoying live music, a car and motorcycle show, family fun zone, pet adoptions, canine demonstrations, the Fireman's Chili Cook-Off, and much, much more. Get your tickets today.
You can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get any...
And we are back. Welcome back to the Philly Sports Guy Show. And just as another thing, Philly Sports Trips, you know I go traveling with them all the time. You want to also travel with them. They go to every Eagles game, every single one, including Dallas. So if you don't have anything to do for Christmas, you want to get out of town, you can go to Dallas. It's going to be a great trip down there. It'd be nice to have some Eagles fans in attendance down there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make that one. I have a couple of kids myself, but you can go on any trip with Philly Sports Trips. And then you could also book the Philly Sports Guy Experience, where you would get to do the things that I do, see the game the way that I see it. We'll go to the tailgates. We'll do the parties. You'll do the TikToks. I'll paint your face if you want to. You get the whole Philly Sports Guy Experience. Get to sit where I sit, watch the game with me, and who knows, maybe even get put on television. Sometimes that happens with us. So, anyways, go to phillysportstrip.com/TPSG, and you would be able to book any one of the trips. They're going out to Pittsburgh here. It's a little too late to book that one, but they're going to Pittsburgh here to watch a couple of games out there. I think it's going to be, you get to see 3 of the 4 games against Pittsburgh with the whole group of people. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of Phillies fans out there, by the way. So I expect that it's going to be a very fun series. And Pittsburgh, again, not doing very well, so there should be some wins. However, the Phillies got to do what they got to do. They cannot do the same thing that they did against the Cubs. And if that's the case, they'll start to get and falter and get out of this race pretty quickly. So hopefully they'll be able to take care of business out there in Pittsburgh. But like I said, always with phillysportstrips.com, you're going to be able to get with Vince and the family over there. They're just a great group of people, and you never know who's going to be arriving, because they always like to bring in special guests and do special things for all of their clientele. People who travel with them stay with them every year. Philly Sports Trips at phillysportstrips.com. All right, back to the business. Like I said, football starting, and there was, the betting lines came out. It's finally, I follow the Score app pretty religiously, and I been waiting to see what they say about the Eagles. And I think what happens is that they go through all of these teams alphabetically. So the Eagles alphabetically are far down on the list. So that's why it took so long to get to us. But they do have them listed. And right now, the Eagles have over under is at 9.5 games, which is interesting to me. I think that is probably dead on. I think it might be a little low. You could probably do it at 10 games on the even, and probably do it at a little bit, maybe give it at a minus 140. It's at minus 130 right now. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you. Thank you for joining the show. It's at minus 130 for the over, at a plus 110 for the under. I actually have it as over. I have the Eagles winning 11 games this year at the very least. They could get as high as 13. Things would really have to fall right for them to be able to do that. I'm not expecting that all those things are going to work out the way I expect them to. So I think 11, 12 wins is probably going to be right where they're at. So I would definitely go with the over on that. The winning the division is a plus 165. And I'm saying that they win this division. I think that's a great bet. I think Dallas took a step backwards. I know that Dallas is always the sexy pick, by the media, but I don't think that they are that good this year. I think that they are going to fall off from what they did last year. They've lost their receiver. I know that CeeDee Lamb is supposed to step up, but is he ready really to step up? I think Zeke Elliott is a year older, and I know that he says he's healthier than he's been in the last couple of years, but I just don't think that they've got it. I don't think Washington can put it together, and I think the Giants are too far away. So I feel that the Eagles will win this division. At plus 165, I think that's a good bet. So the conference is plus 1,100. Now, I can't say that they're going to win the conference. I personally have them going to the NFC Championship game. So, of course, I don't have the odds to see if they would get there. But if they did, I'd be willing to bet that that's probably somewhere close to this. I mean, they have it listed as a plus 1100. I think that it's probably more likely if they were to just get there, it's probably like a plus 800, plus 900. And I think that's a really good bet. I think the Eagles take a very big leap from last year. I know they made it to the playoffs last year. They beat the teams that they were supposed to. They didn't beat a team with a winning record but they did actually because they beat Carolina. They had a winning record before when we played them. They beat the Saints when we played them. They had a winning record. So ultimately, it wasn't like we didn't beat teams that didn't have a winning record. They may have ended poorly or whatever, but it doesn't matter. So I feel they do take the step. I would make the bet that they make it to the conference final. I don't think that they win it. I'm not sure. As of right now, I do have the Bucks going against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I can't really see beyond that, which makes me think that I don't think the Eagles are going to win that. I think Tom Brady gets ready for his last hurrah, and he may not win the Super Bowl, but he may wind up playing in another one this year. And the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl for the Eagles is a plus 2,500. If you wanted to bet $10 to win 250, it's probably not a bad bet. $10 you're going to drink away anyways. You'll blow that on a pack of cigarettes or on a couple of beers. So if you're going to invest $10 to possibly win 250, that's not a bad bet whatsoever. The lines for each game have come out, and obviously I'm looking at this on the Score app, so I'm not exactly sure where they get their lines from, but they have, starting off in week 1 right now, as of right today, the Eagles are a 4-point favorite against Detroit. And they are favorites listed in 11 games this year. There's 3 pick'ems and 3 where they're underdog. I don't know if anybody remembers from last year. Last year, the Eagles were not favored in any game preseason. In the preseason, they had 2 pick'ems, but were underdogs in 15 of those games or 14 of those games, which amazes me. I mean, I think they may have been favored in one, but I don't even remember like that. I think that they were underdogs in all of those games in the preseason because I thought everybody thought that the Giants were going to be better than them, and Washington was going to be good, and they were going to compete for the division title again. None of that happened. None of that happened. So, of course, Dallas, everybody thought Dallas was going to be great again. And they were pretty good. They actually had a pretty good season. They were able to beat the Eagles twice last year. And, nobody cared about the last game of the season. But that third game of the season meant something. And, they took care of us pretty handily. We ran into a buzzsaw there. But I don't expect that's going to happen this year. So, but like I said, right now, just go moving, talking about this. At Detroit, we are a 4-point favorite. At home on Monday Night Football against Minnesota, we are a 2.5-point favorite. Here's an interesting one. Going down to Washington, Carson Wentz, starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders in Washington. They have it listed as a pick'em, which I find very interesting. I didn't think Washington's that good, but it's possible. I think that's something that we could probably be favorites at. And my expectation is that by week 3, before the game, that line is going to be Eagles -5. So just look for that. I don't think Washington's going to be as good as everybody thinks it is. Week 4, Jacksonville, where they come up to Philly. Doug is back in town, and they got him at -6 or +6.5. So we are a 6.5-point favorite against that. And here is the first game where we are actually an underdog. Going to Arizona, we are right now a 2-point underdog at a +2. Next week is Dallas, where they have us as a pick'em. So we are a pick'em against Dallas at home in week 6. We go to the bye week. After the bye week, we have Pittsburgh at home. That is also, we are favored by 3.5 points there. In Houston, down in Houston, it's a Thursday night football game there. We are a 5.5 point favorite. And I think that that's a little deceiving there. If there was a game where I thought that things would not necessarily go well for them, that game is the game that I think at like a 5.5 on a Thursday night traveling. That's not so easy to do, and I expect that that may be one of the games that we lose that we're expected to win. Washington, we come back home to Washington, and hopefully Carson Wentz is still the quarterback because I would love to see a couple of more pick sixes. I'd love to see him throw a couple more touchdowns at the link to the Eagles. And they are a 3.5 point favorite in that game. Then we go to Indianapolis, and we are there. We are a 3 point underdog. It's one of the highest lines that we have. In Arizona, we're only a 2 point underdog. In Indianapolis, we're a 3 point underdog. So, and then come back and have Green Bay at home where it's a pick 'em. So there's our third pick. The three picks are against Washington in week 3 at there, and then Dallas and Green Bay are pick'ems here at home. Then we have Tennessee at home, and this was a surprise. At 10 with Tennessee coming here, we're a 2 point favorite. Interesting. Interesting to us. Giants in New York, we're a 1.5 point favorite. In Chicago, because we have 3 games in a row away. So in Chicago, we're -3. So we're 3 point favorite there. And then in Dallas on Christmas Eve, we are a 3.5 point underdog. This is the highest line that goes against us at 3.5 points. The Eagles are expected to be, like I said, they're a dog in that one. We end this season with New Orleans. They come here and are a 3 point dog, and then the Giants as a 5 point. We're the Orleans, the Saints are a 3 point dog. We're a 3 point favorite, and we are a 5 point favorite against the Giants to end the season. Couple of other things to look at that I kind of like. They have his interceptions. Hurts's interceptions. He threw 15. Was it? Through what 9 and 15 games last year. They have his over under in interceptions at 10.5. I would say that's an under. That is absolutely an under. I would continue to go with the under on that. I think that he may only have 7 or 8 interceptions. That would be a bet that I would absolutely take. They say that it is, what was it, 50-1? 50-1 for Miles Sanders to lead the league in rushing yards or in scores or in rushing scores. I don't know that I would take that bet. The other thing is that the over under for receptions on Dallas Goedert is at 61.5. If you include Zach Ertz's numbers to his numbers last year, if you took a third of them, just a third of those, he would have been well over that 61.5. I think that that's a good bet. You could definitely take Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert to go over the 61.5 receptions. I think he gets somewhere around 80. So you could even maybe flex that a little bit and get some better odds if you have the opportunity to do so. Some books allow that, some books do not. And there you have it. And there's the news of the day for Philadelphia sports. Again, I am going to be at the Phillies game today. So if you're out there, definitely come find me. Let's take a picture together and root on the Phillies to have them win this game against. We got to beat the Braves. Atlanta stinks. We got to take this one. We got to take this series from Atlanta. It's going to be important for us to do that for a lot of different reasons, especially since I think the Cardinals are going to go into a little bit of a swoon right here. So definitely take this win and get back in the wild card position and start building a lead in that regard, because I think the Padres are being a little haphazard, and ultimately, I think the Mets are going to start to falter a little bit. I have the Braves actually winning this division. So I think the Mets are going to maybe be in the wild card, but if they start to swoon like they normally do, I'd expect them to not even make it into the playoffs. So, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in and watching another Philly Sports Guy show. We're supposed to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I am going to break trend here, and I'm going to do it tomorrow too. So you're going to be able to see the Philly Sports Guy show tomorrow as well. going to be able to do it. And then on Friday, we're going to do it a little early because I've got a lot of stuff that's going to be happening here. So you're going to catch me at a little bit earlier time on Friday, but we're going to do this 5 days a week. Everybody, thank you very much, and we will talk to you. And as always,